Buffalo is one of the smallest cities in the entire NFL. Brutal winters, a small market, and for over 50 years, the Buffalo Bills were playing in a stadium that was literally crumbling underneath them. And yet somehow, this is the city that just built one of the most expensive stadiums in NFL history. But here's the thing, before any of this could happen, the owner didn't ask for a new stadium. He threatened to pack up the entire franchise and move it to Texas. And just like that, politicians who had been sitting on this problem for years suddenly had 48 hours to figure it out. What followed was one of the most controversial stadium deals in American sports history. The costs exploded. The public ended up paying nearly $1 billion of taxpayer money. Controversies piled up one after another, and the whole thing had to be built through some of the harshest winters in the entire country. This is the full story of the new Highmark Stadium. Let's get into it. To understand why Buffalo is building a brand new stadium, you have to go back to 1973. That's when Highmark Stadium first opened its gates, and by the time the new venue welcomes its first game in 2026, that old stadium will be more than 50 years old, making it one of the oldest active venues in the entire National Football League. And while age is part of the story, it's really just the beginning of a much bigger picture that built up over decades. When Highmark Stadium was designed and built, the NFL looked completely different. There were no luxury suites, no premium club sections, no high-end fan experiences, because nobody expected those things back then. But fast forward to today, and those features aren't luxuries anymore. They're the financial engine that keeps modern NFL franchises competitive. Highmark Stadium, built in a different era, simply couldn't offer what newer stadiums were offering. And that gap was quietly, but consistently costing the Bills real money year after year. One thing the old stadium always had going for it, though, was its weather identity. Orchard Park, New York averages over 90 inches of snow annually, and Bills home games in December and January became almost legendary for how extreme the conditions could get. While other NFL franchises moved indoors to domed stadiums for comfort and consistency, Buffalo deliberately stayed outdoors, embracing the cold, the wind, and the snow as a genuine competitive advantage. That harsh environment became deeply woven into the team's identity, and Bills fans wore it like a badge of honor. But identity only takes you so far when the infrastructure is crumbling underneath you. In 2013, the Bills invested $130 million in renovations to keep the stadium functional. And while that brought some upgrades like new concessions, updated bathrooms, and a new scoreboard, it couldn't solve the deeper structural problems. The concourses were still tight and outdated. The stadium had only a single tunnel providing field access, meaning both teams and all staff had to share that one narrow entry point on game day. Cracks were visible in the concourse floors. Steel beams had been added in places just to reinforce aging concrete. These weren't cosmetic issues anymore. They were signs of a building that had simply been pushed as far as it could go. As maintenance and operational costs kept rising, the Pegulas commissioned an independent engineering study. And what came back was eye-opening. Fully renovating Highmark Stadium to modern NFL standards would cost between $862 million to $1 billion and would only guarantee around 15 more years of life. A brand new stadium at the time was estimated at $1.4 billion. Nearly the same investment, but one delivered a half-century future, while the other barely bought another decade and a half. Then came the moment that truly forced everyone's hand. In August 2021, the Pegulas threatened to relocate the franchise to Austin, Texas, if a new stadium deal wasn't reached. For a city where the Bills aren't just a football team, but a central part of the region's identity and culture, that threat hit differently. Suddenly, this wasn't just a stadium conversation, it was an emergency. New York State and Erie County had no choice but to come to the table seriously, and negotiations moved fast. A deal was reached, plans were submitted, and the project was officially approved. Terry Pegula, who had made it clear since purchasing the Bills in 2014 that keeping the franchise in Buffalo long-term was his absolute priority, finally had the green light he had been working toward. But what exactly are they building? The new Highmark Stadium isn't being built miles away in some new location or downtown Buffalo. It's going up directly across Abbott Road, literally right in front of where the old stadium has stood since 1973. Fans driving to games in 2026 will pull into the same Orchard Park neighborhood they've always known, park in familiar spots, and walk toward a completely different building that already feels like home. The architecture firm behind the design is Populous, responsible for Yankee Stadium, the London Olympic Stadium, and over 12 other active NFL stadiums. But their inspiration for this building didn't come from another NFL venue. It came from Buffalo itself. The exterior is defined by a striking ring of towering vertical fins that wrap the entire perimeter, creating a bold, fortress-like presence from the moment it comes into view. At ground level, iron spot brick panels rise in uneven heights, giving the structure a sense of weight and permanence, as if it's not just built on the land, but anchored into it. The Bills made one deliberate and clear choice on the roof: no dome, no retractable cover. The stadium stays open air, keeping Buffalo's famous weather identity fully intact. Instead, a 360-degree steel canopy wraps the entire building, covering around 65% of seats, shielding fans from snow and wind while preserving the outdoor atmosphere. That canopy also traps crowd noise and funnels it directly toward the field, making new Highmark Stadium expected to be one of the loudest outdoor venues in the NFL. The capacity drops from 71,000 in the old stadium to 62,000. But that number tells an important financial story. The old stadium had around 121 private suites. The new one features dramatically more premium spaces: the Founders Club, the Field Club, and the East Club, a hospitality area spanning 73,000 square feet, expected to be the largest club space in the entire NFL. Both the Founders and East Clubs sold out before the stadium even opened. Modern NFL revenue is built on premium experiences, and the new Highmark Stadium was engineered specifically to fix that gap. Inside the bowl, a steeper 34-degree seating angle, up from the old stadium's 28 degrees, puts even the last row of the upper deck 54 feet closer to the field. Above the north end zone, front row fans sit just 12 feet vertically above field level, a wall of noise that visiting teams will feel from the opening kickoff. Both concourse levels are fully enclosed and heated. The playing surface switches from artificial turf to natural Kentucky bluegrass, with underground heating cables keeping it alive through winter. Multiple field access tunnels finally replace the single shared entry point both teams squeezed through for over 50 years. Outside the stadium sits the Family Circle, a plaza anchored by 3 massive stainless steel bison sculptures. A bull standing 27 feet tall and weighing 23,000 pounds, alongside a cow and calf. At night, they light up in team colors and breathe real smoke from their nostrils. It's the front door to the new stadium, and it makes an impression before you even step inside. At over $2 billion, this is one of the most expensive stadiums ever built in NFL history. A number that reflects just how seriously Buffalo took this project. But writing the blueprint is one thing. Turning it into reality is a completely different story. On June 5, 2023, construction officially began. Terry Pegula stood alongside Roger Goodell and New York's governor as they broke ground, a moment that made the project real for the first time. For Buffalo, this wasn't just a ceremony, it was the beginning of a new era. From the very beginning, the pace was intense. Around 1,500 workers were on site every single day. By March 2024, just 9 months in, all the excavation was already finished. The foundation was done, and crews had moved on to concrete and steel at the same time. The Bills were moving fast enough that they even filmed their 2024 season schedule announcement on the active construction site, with Josh Allen standing right in the middle of it. Something unexpected happened during the excavation phase though. A fan jumped the fence and fell into the massive dig site, 30 to 40 feet deep. Instead of being a warning, Bills fans turned it into a superstition. They started calling it the Pit and believed feeding it would lead to a Bills win. The Bills then went on a 6-game winning streak, with someone falling into the site before each of those games. Security eventually tightened up, but the story spread everywhere. Buffalo winters slowed things down more than once, forcing crews to make up lost time. Then, in February 2026, vandals got into the stadium and spray-painted graffiti across multiple areas, which halted construction for about a week while an investigation was carried out. A small fire earlier in the project had caused delays too. Despite all of it, by March 2026, the stadium had crossed 90% completion, with crews working around the clock 7 days a week. Now the money side of this, because this is where it gets interesting. The stadium was originally estimated at $1.4 billion. By late 2024, that number had risen to over $2.1 billion, mainly because post-pandemic inflation pushed up the cost of labor and materials significantly. The Pegulas agreed from day one to cover all cost overruns themselves, and they did. No cutting corners, no going back to the public for more money. But the public contribution was already enormous before any overruns even happened. Taxpayers are contributing $850 million to this project, the single largest public investment in any NFL stadium ever. New York State contributed $600 million, and Erie County added $250 million. That funding structure drew serious criticism. A sports economist who has studied stadium deals for over 2 decades called this one of the worst arrangements for taxpayers he had ever seen. On top of that, because the stadium has no roof, it will never be eligible to host a Super Bowl, which some people see as a missed opportunity given the size of the investment. As for the old stadium, it hosted its final game on January 4th, 2026 against the New York Jets, which was also the very first opponent it faced when it opened back in 1973. Full demolition is planned for March 2027, with the structure being carefully taken apart and most of the material recycled. Once the old stadium is gone, that land will most likely be converted into parking for the new one across the street. More than 50 years of history replaced in just a few years of construction. So now the question is simple. Did Buffalo make the right call? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.